Welcome back to the Church of Atheism podcast. We got a fun little episode for you today. Little episode. It's like an hour long. Prepare yourselves. I'm not going to talk much. We got a new sponsor. We'll hit that right off the bat. And, let's squeak. Yeah, let's just get to the episode. Quick, fun, hour long little journey in the Church of Atheism.
So should we start with our sponsor thing, or?
Yeah. We got two sponsors this week, actually. Our first one is obviously the most fake one. It's Jenny's all new, all natural, all purpose cleaner and energy drink.
Hell yes.
Does cleaning the house all day leave you exhausted and thirsty? Try all new Jenny's all new, all natural, all purpose, all cleaner and energy drink.
If they use the word all that many times, it has to do everything.
It does everything and beyond.
Yeah. So you can drink it and you can clean with it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, how many times have you been cleaning and accidentally grabbed the soap instead of your soda?
Accidentally?
Yeah.
Oh. It happens on purpose more.
Okay.
I only have two hands. You know, I could clean with one and I could hold the beverage with the other. And I've just been waiting my entire life for both of those things to be in one easy-to-use container.
Well, wait no more. With Jenny's all new, all natural, all purpose cleaner and energy drink, you don't have to wait anymore.
Good. Because waiting is for fucking assholes.
Yes.
And I've been looking like a jerk off for years, just waiting for this.
Now you can.
You know how many? Like I have every one of my friends and roommates has had poison control on speed dial. So I've been looking like a real idiot.
Yep.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. Thanks, Jenny.
Yes, a cleaner that you can drink.
Yep. Finally here.
Yeah.
And now for our real sponsor. I love growing marijuana. I'm gonna have a webpage posted up. You can go to. Well, I'll have it by then. It's probably gonna be churchofatheism.xyz/ I love growing marijuana. You can download a free ebook. It explains step by step how to grow your own weed in your own house or in your own apartment if you're risky, or your own garden. And yeah.
I was gonna say now would be the time to check it out. I was reading a article, a few. This kept popping up in like my various news websites, but like since the Democrats are controlling the House, like apparently it's predicted by the end of the year there's going to be a huge push for national marijuana reform instead of just state by state. So now would be the time to learn, get good at it. That way, the day you can just pop those little seeds in the ground.
Yep.
Then you'll know what to do.
You'll be ahead of your own competition, which will be no one, because it's all legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to our webpage and you can download the free ebook. And it explains, like I said, A to Z how to grow it and everything. And then from their website, you can buy other, the seeds, all that good shit. It's all there. So, yep, we'll have a link for you.
Oh, you could buy seeds too?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking badass.
I think right now they can only send it to states that are legal.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's just such a mess, the laws.
Right.
But not this website.
right, not the website. Nope.
Yeah, and that's a real friend of the show.
Yes. I mean that's.
No, I would say Christian Mingle is a friend of the show, but it's a one-sided friendship. It's more of a stalker situation.
Did we get another letter, by the way?
I got a pile of cease and desist letters from them and J-Date.
J-Date.
Yeah.
J-Date. I forgot about those guys.
Wow. I just thought about that the other day.
So, yeah. J-Date hit us up with a cease and desist before we even talked about him. How about that?
Yeah, well, them, like, there is a joke, I'm sure, and I'm sure it's on them, not me.
Exactly.
Not us.
No,
sir.
You know us. We always hit the high road.
It's
Yeah,
actually pretty nice out today.
I had what I thought was going to be plenty of time this week to do a lot of studying and research turned into barely any whatsoever.
Oh yeah, like yeah, same here. Cause my fucking car.
Short-staffed. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my car broke down, and then I'm still working 50 hours a week. That hasn't stopped. I don't know why.
Jesus.
Yeah, the holidays have been done.
Right.
Like for a while now. So why?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, like it would have been great to have tomorrow off. Ew.
Yeah, I was supposed to have like 2.5 days off this week, and it was just we got short-staffed. Someone like just disappeared.
Oh wow.
Literally just left in the middle of a shift.
Eh,
Yeah, so that's good times.
damn. Yeah, that sucks.
Didn't call, didn't say, hey, I'm gonna, have something going on. I'm sorry. Didn't text. She's like, it's 2:00. I'm out of here. I'm gone.
Well, I did at least an ample amount of research today for a while, so I would say we got a special treat for the listeners.
Yeah.
It's honoring the great Robert Stack in Unsolved Mysteries, because it
Update.
update. Because Netflix, I believe it was Netflix, recently announced that they're bringing back Unsolved Mysteries, and everybody's been all excited. Even though Spike TV brought it back in like 2004 or something,
Right.
for 2 seasons, and all anyone did was bitch because Robert Stack wasn't the host. Like he's dead. What do you people fucking want? And you know what? Dennis Farina was a fine host for a couple reasons.
Should have a hologram of Robert Stack.
Oh, that would have been awesome. Him and Tupac could host it.
Bring him back from the dead, god damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I always get in debates with my sister and Jamie. I'm like, no, Dennis Farina rules. First of all, he's in the movie Snatch. Have you seen Snatch?
No.
Oh, it's like a
total mood killer.
It's like a British gangster. It was like one of Jason Statham's like first movies. But it was like a gangster comedy movie, and
badass.
yeah, he plays this American guy, and he's got the best line in the movie, which is he's complaining about going to London. He's talking about how he wants sandy beaches, and this guy's like, "Well, you have beaches?" He's like, "Yeah, who the fuck wants to see them?" Well, and not only that, and not only that, he's got that Chicago accent that I love.
Yeah.
And he was also an actual Chicago cop for like decades.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So that's why I think he's cool, because he actually kind of shows that he probably gives a shit about a lot of this.
Right. Oh, that's badass. I'll have to check that out. Is it on Netflix?
I don't know if. Let's see. I've been watching like the old ones, the Robert Stack and Dennis Farina ones are on Hulu.
No, I mean the movie.
Oh, Snatch.
Yeah. I'll find it.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that's Netflix, because I think we were gonna watch it.
Badass.
Yeah. It is fucking great. It's got Brad Pitt, and actually it's probably the role that made me really like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And you'll see. Probably a lot of people that are listening have seen it, because it's pretty popular movie.
Yeah,
anyway.
I'm like, people don't know that I'm like the most non-movie buff. Like, there's so many classic movies I've never seen before.
I used to rant like movies. Like I used to watch at least like 2 of them a week, and now I almost never do. Well, there's so many like TV shows that I get into that I have to watch multiple times.
Even back like when we used to rent VHS and DVR or DVDs, I don't know what it was. I was always into video games or sports or gambling more than I was a movie.
Yeah, I've been like slacking on the movies, but anyway, so
yeah, Unsolved Mystery episode.
Unsolved Mysteries, and then we got a couple Unsolved Mystery. Well, because like I'm sure I've mentioned this, like usually I'll read every day, like before I go to bed for like an hour. And if I can't figure out what to read about, like it always seems to be either the mafia or the one thing I love to read about is, I guess, unsolved murders, or something that really fascinates me is when they find a dead, like unidentified people.
Right.
I like reading about that, and this story has a little bit of both. But to fit the show, I was looking for some with a religious element, and
Ooh.
yeah,
Sexy.
yeah, hot. Oh, this story has a lot of sexiness, a lot
All
of
right.
it gets pretty gay at some points. So
Buckle up.
yeah. Oh, and then of course I didn't write any notes. Are you able to? There's that one link I sent. Were you able to like pull that up? Then I just kind of wanted to know the names and dates. It was like that list verse article is short, and it would have pretty much. The only thing I really don't remember is like the names and dates.
Yeah, hold on. 10 Strange Church. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, it would be the very first one on top. Cool.
So, December 4th, 1982.
That's where we're starting.
Yeah.
So this case has a lot of. It goes back and forth. It's connected with like 3 incidents, so you wanna try and stay along. And plus, I often forget what I'm talking about and get lost. So
We'll be talking about Back to the Future in like 4 minutes.
yeah, it's not gonna. It'll come to that, I'm sure. So, in 1982, we got so there was a church, a Catholic church in Boise, Idaho, and so this guy walks into the church, and he had a very dark tan. His hair was sun bleached, and it was in December. That's kind of important later on.
Stands out.
Clearly, yeah, he stands out because in Idaho, especially that time of year, you're not going to find too many people with that deep a tan. And he was wearing kind of like, I guess you could say he was dressed kind of like a rancher. He was wearing like Western attire. So yeah, this guy walks into a church and he immediately heads towards the confessional booth. However, the confessional booth is occupied. So he sits down and waits for his turn. But when the priest and I guess the confessor, whatever you call him, when the priest and the confessor exited the booth, they found this man dead.
Huh.
Normal so far.
Right.
Happens all the time.
I don't remember how many confessions I've gone to. I had to step over like 2 or 3 dead bodies just to get
yeah,
to the
there's
priest. Yeah.
there's always a couple. So so yeah, this guy just drops dead on the church floor. And then it starts to get weirder and weirder. So,
Okay.
cops come, they search him. He has no identification of any sort. They can't tell. There's no way of telling who this guy is. However, he has a note in his pocket, and in his pocket he also has $1,900 in cash. And I always bring a fucking roll of bills to church too.
You just never know.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna buy.
Right.
Because there's like, there's all sorts of vendors. That's what happens
The gift shop.
at church. Or am I thinking of the flea market?
I'm pretty sure it's church.
You can save your soul through Jesus, or you can save your soul through awesome deals.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So they searched this feller, this old Western feller, and
Yes, sir.
yeah, like I said, no idea. However,
Yes, sir.
yes, but he's got a note, and in his note he said that he wants, basically, the nature of the note suggested that he came in here to die. And his note said the money in his pocket should pay for his funeral. The rest is donated to the church. So that's really weird. He came in there, and then the cops determined that he had swallowed a cyanide capsule.
Nice.
So he came into the church, and with the intention of killing himself. So obviously, probably what his intention was he swallowed that capsule, thinking that he was immediately going to go confess. He clearly planned on confessing something to this preacher and then dying, which is great. Like, I mean that just leads you to so many like so much speculation,
right?
Of what that could be. Like clearly he was guilty of something, guilty enough to want to commit suicide. He had to tell somebody.
It was more than just like he left the milk out for too long and his roommate got pissed off.
Yeah, yeah. a little more serious, yeah. But since the confession booth was empty, and most people probably don't know how long it's going to take cyanide to kick in, so I guess he kind of screwed that up, and so he just died. No one has any idea. To this day, no one knows who he is.
Wow.
Yeah, so nobody has any way of knowing what it is he would confess to. However, there are some theories. Oh yeah, it's also worth mentioning that, and this is going to come into play later as well, he did sign the note. He signed a note with a name that said, it's on the top of that page. It was like
W.M.L. Toomey.
Yeah, W.M.L. Toomey. And I think they pretty quickly figured, that name sounded familiar, and the reason that was familiar was because that was a company based out of Boston that manufactures, or at least sells, the robes that priests and nuns wear. But that's weird. That's weird. Like, yeah, he had some strange knowledge of a very specific part of American Catholicism.
Wow.
So there's that guy. And then, I mean, open and shut. There's, aside from the fact that they didn't identify him and don't know what he wanted, I mean, I guess it's not incredibly weird for people to kill themselves out of guilt.
True.
So, so then, okay, jump ahead a little bit and a little further down south. So, in Texas, there was a man, Father Ryan?
Yeah. Actually jumped back a year, December 21st, 1981.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm hitting my timeline.
Odessa, Texas.
That's right. Not Odessa, Ukraine.
Right. I wanted to make sure that was pretty well understood.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
it's the accent.
Yeah. So in 1981, there was a hotel, and so supposed to have checked out. So the major house cleaner or whatever went to go check on him. Well, she opened the door, and goddamn if there wasn't just blood everywhere.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, happens. Actually, that probably happened the hotels, now that I'm thinking about it.
I wonder, what the percentage of hotel, what are they called? Maids? Hotel room cleaners? Housekeeping? I wonder what percentage of housekeeping has ever, has found bodies?
It happens a lot, because when I was bored the other day, I was on the Wikipedia page it was a list of famous people who overdosed on drugs.
Nice.
I don't know what led me to that. I was, and it is a long list.
Oh,
but,
sure.
Probably an overwhelming amount of those were found dead at hotels.
Jesus.
So it's got to be pretty common for them to find corpses.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is one such case. where maid finds a corpse. It's hogtied with hands and feet. The guy's laying on his stomach. He's got his hands and feet bound together behind his back, and he's got I think the official cause of death was he was just beaten to death, and he was beaten, strangled, and slashed like across his back and shit.
Wow.
So so that's weird. And the guy was in the morgue because another thing is that the police quickly found out that, because back then, like now you check into a hotel room, you have to give them your card information, even if you're paying with cash in case you trash the room.
Right.
Apparently this guy did.
This is the one we have to blame for that.
Yeah. He tied his hands and feet behind his back and then smashed the TVs and walls and shit.
After.
Yeah, what a dick. So, the cops quickly found out that, why I said that was because back then you'd have to give them, your license plate number or something that could be traced back to you in case you make a big mess.
Right.
And so the cops quickly found out that the name that he gave didn't match anybody, and the name didn't match anyone, the license plate number he gave didn't match, and, he just gave nothing but false information when he checked into this room.
Right.
So, he was in the morgue for 4 or 5 days when the police in his hometown, which I think was 90 minutes away, and
Well, there you go.
I can't remember his town. Doesn't matter. But so the police from his hometown, there was a pastor. He didn't show up for one service, and then there was a Christmas Eve service he didn't show up for. Then by the time Christmas Eve or Christmas Day service, then people are like, all right, this guy's missing because he's a pastor. This is really the one day a year. So then they I can't remember what it was that got them to call Odessa. Oh no, I think they just heard that there was a murder. And so the police there ended up calling the Odessa police, and then some of his parishioners.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Well, some of his congregation.
Yeah.
Went down there and positive. Jesus Christ, I cannot.
You have a positive ID?
Yeah, I need to limit this to just one syllable words, apparently. Anyway. So yeah, his parishioners went down there to Odessa, went to the morgue, and they're like, yep, that's our guy, that's Father Ryan.
Hogtied as usual.
Yeah, hogtied as usual. So yeah, then obviously he was murdered. All right, and then the police. Now I'm getting. So the police had a suspect. This is what it gets. This is just another weird complication to this case. So the police immediately had a suspect. It was this guy. He's a Native American fella. Royez.
James Harry Royez.
Yeah, James Royez. So he was, by all accounts, a nice guy, but he's kind of a fuck up. He just got arrested a lot for alcohol-related offenses. Never anything violent, but he was sort of a drifter, and so they arrested him because I think they found some of his belongings with the priest. So it turned out this guy was hitchhiking through Texas, and as weird as it sounds, in the 70s and 80s, hitchhiking was so common. That was such a common way to get around. It's not really weird that somebody, especially a preacher who just wants to help people, not uncommon that apparently they picked up a lot of hitchhikers. So he picked up James Royes, and they went. I don't know how they went to a town, and they kind of spent the evening drinking, and then I guess they went to somewhere, a hotel or maybe the preacher's place. I read about this all day. Now I'm forgetting these like minor details.
I think it was. I think it was the hotel.
So yeah, they went to the hotel, and both pretty drunk. And then that is when things got a little kooky. And the priest, it says forcibly made James Royes perform oral sex on him, which he complied. So I guess he didn't really force it. I don't know.
But the power of God on his side, I'll smite you.
Yeah. The power of God. He can make you gay. He can make you not be gay. Just depends what you want God to do.
It's whatever his plan is.
Yeah. So, well, he was secretly gay, but in that time, in the early '80s, especially where he was from, very much frowned upon.
Yeah.
And apparently, so that's kind of something to keep in mind here in a bit. So they picked him up as a suspect, and I guess they questioned him. They determined that he didn't do it, and they let him go. Well, a week. Oh wait, okay, no. Back up. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, yeah, the guy did. So they had a weird little sexual incident, and Royes just kind of panicked, ran out, didn't know what to do, and then he realized he was in this weird town, didn't know anybody, and he needed a ride to go get his truck because it was being held by a bail bondsman because he probably got DUI'd or something.
Right.
Again.
Standard.
So the pastor was the only one that he knew that might help him out. So he went back to the pastor's place. They sort of talked it out. The pastor's like, yeah, I'm weird. I don't know what came over me. It won't happen again. The pastor dropped him off at the bail bondsman's house, which was confirmed by him and the bail bondsman's daughter. Just dropped him off, and that was the last that. That was the last anyone could confirm having seen him.
Right.
So Royes got his truck, and then he was headed back to. I think he was headed to visit his family in Arizona. So he was going, and the thing about Royes is that there's some weird reason, some maybe OCD, but he meticulously kept every receipt, which ended up, well, spoiler alert, should have proved that he didn't murder him, because there was enough evidence that shows that he is not even possible for him to have committed the murder of Father Ryan.
Right.
But so he ends up hearing about this guy Father Ryan getting murdered, and then one night, this is what totally fucked him over. One night he got really drunk, got fucked up on Quaaludes, which we all have been there.
Who hasn't?
Even though they haven't made those since the '80s, but
But I know a guy.
Yeah. I got a lewd guy, So, so he ended up, getting all fucked up. And even the cops that picked him up said he smelled like alcohol. He ended up getting he called and he confessed to the killing, but from what I was reading, it's not that I don't know. He was fucked up, and no one should have, he was wasted. He got a public defender. The public defender was like, this guy reeks of alcohol. You should let him sober up. But they let him give a drunken confession, and, he said that he did it, but, I don't think he gave, he didn't give the specific details that you would give.
Right.
Because there were certain details that only the cops knew that the press didn't. and he didn't give those details.
Oh,
So, like, right there,
right.
confession was kind of, yeah. So, he explained how he met Father Ryan, and really what it came down to was that if the priest didn't give Royez a ride, he wouldn't have stayed at that hotel, and he wouldn't have gotten murdered. So it wasn't like he was admitting, he was just all fucked up, and he just felt guilty.
Right. He was saying he was responsible.
Yeah, he was saying he was responsible, and he was going through a lot of shit at the time, like having a sort of a sexual identity crisis, and he was a wreck. And
Nice.
so yeah, he made that confession, and then the police detained him, and then immediately once he woke up, hungover, he recanted his confession, which that should not have been admissible in the first place.
Right.
So yeah, but you know what happened is that Royez got charged with the murder anyway.
Nice.
And there's a lot of for one thing, the jurors. It was pointed out that the jurors didn't really understand the law. Like, yeah,
wow.
it was like it had to do with in the police confession he admitted to it, and since he admitted to the crime, then he must be guilty. That was literally why he got convicted.
Jesus.
Yeah. Some real bullshit. And then you got the element, of course, that he's Native American and gay. So, and we're talking Texas here.
Texas, Native American, gay. Okay, so he's got like 2 strikes against him already.
Yeah, 2 strikes, and plus how religious that part is. So like the fact that he was kind of like smearing the name of a priest. I don't think the jurors took too kindly to that either.
Right.
So that's 3 strikes, and then he went to prison. He ended up getting paroled in like 2003, and he served his full fucking sentence. Even though, so after he got his truck, which was confirmed, he was I think headed to Arizona to visit family. So as soon as he heads out, fucking blows a tire. And so he had to get it towed, take it to a garage, and then he kept receipts for that. So it was already proven that he was far away. And then he's heading back to, he's still heading towards Arizona. Fucking gets another goddamn flat tire, has to get it towed and fixed. Jesus. And then he's like, gets some drinks. I think he bought like some beer. He made enough purchases with time-stamped receipts. So basically his lawyer pointed out that he would have had to, in order to commit the murder, he would have had to have driven 120 miles an hour straight for 2 hours, commit the murder, and drive at 120 miles per hour back.
Jesus.
And his truck was not capable of doing that anyway.
Right.
So it's insane. Like, I got just so angry reading this. It's like he so clearly did not do it.
Right. Oh my god.
Like, sure, you could fake a time-stamped receipt, but
not
to
that
fake
many.
To fake that many, and there were witnesses that were like, oh yeah, no, I fixed this guy's tire, or yeah, no, he bought a case of beer from me. So he's going to prison anyway. And just for feeling guilty. Like, that is kind of what his only crime was, really. Feeling guilty and then doing something dumb when he was drunk.
Right.
Everybody's been there. Probably not everyone's admitted to murder. But,
I don't think I have.
I've never admitted to any of the murders. Oh, no.
So...
oh, shit.
Damn it. I'll edit that.
yeah, cut that out. So, I guess, so you'd think that story ends there. Well then, so...
Here comes the hook.
So, he's in jail for a while, and and then you got the John Doe in the church, completely unconnected, really. And then, yeah, until completely unconnected until there were several people. There was a former prosecutor in Texas, and like I was reading like a brief like a snippet of interview with him, and he was saying how you're like, they're Texans, they're tough on crime. He was saying that he was like, for any Texas prosecutor to admit that someone is wrongfully accused is almost like a sin
Right.
in that sort of community. And
Yep.
even this guy just looked at the evidence briefly, and then he's like,
Not
yeah,
guilty.
he didn't do it. And then he read it cover to cover. So,
Wow.
yeah, he was, this prosecutor was on Roy's side, and then he kind of spread the word, and then like there was a couple cops that realized that he shouldn't have been in there, and then it really kind of got traction when there was two journalists from Texas that started reporting about it. So then they did some serious research, and so yeah, they found something interesting. So back to the dead guy at the church. There was one thing that I didn't mention that they tried everything to identify him. He wasn't really wearing anything anything unique, except he had a belt buckle. He had a very distinctive belt buckle that they confirmed that it came from Yuma, like a gift store in Yuma, Arizona. And that was it. That was the last actual clue they got about him. But that's interesting for another reason, because when these two journalists, when they were researching the case, they were trying every possible thing they could. They're like trying to prove that it could have been someone else. So they were looking to see if maybe there were any similar cases. And then they found something very strange. Which hold on a second. Pause for nicotine.
Station identification.
Yeah, station identification. Getting all wound up. So these oh wait, maybe I'm gonna have to ID us one more time.
You're listening to Church of Atheism Radio. Any number, any dial, any frequency. Podcast.
Ah, there we go.
Nailed it.
All right, that'll take a couple years off my life, hopefully.
Hopefully.
But yeah, before big congrats to us for not getting derailed so far. This has got to be a record. This has to be a record.
Nailed it so far.
Yeah. So anyway, these two journalists, they were trying everything because they wanted to help this guy, and who wouldn't when he very clearly did not commit a murder he was doing time
Right.
for. And by the way, I gotta keep bringing this up. He served his goddamn full sentence.
20 years.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
20 fucking years in prison. And I didn't really have time to look. I don't know if he actually did get a pardon, because he got out in 2003 and he was trying to get like a full pardon. And, that was...
What
number of years?
I don't think he did get a pardon.
Yeah, that sucks. Because he could not have done it.
Right.
That's just... I cannot emphasize that enough. So anyhow, these like I said, they were trying everything. They're like, well, let's see if there's any similar cases. And then that's when they found something strange. Oh, I thought we had some strange music. Yeah, there we go.
Nailed it.
So, they found, not one, but a handful of cases similar to that. They found actually a string of priests having been murdered. from Texas all the way through Arizona to California and even to the Pacific Northwest. But there was one in particular that stood out because it was almost identical to the way that Father Ryan got killed. It was, I can't remember this name, but it should say in there. But in Arizona, yeah, there was an almost identical thing. Hotel room. Another Catholic preacher found hogtied.
Benjamin Carrier.
Yeah, Benjamin Carrier.
Trying to find it.
yeah, similar thing. And so this one was weird. Like, well, I guess it's no weirder than the other one, really. It's almost the same thing happened, but
Yeah.
like, so yeah, they I guess he didn't show up to the church rectory or whatever, and I guess one of his church members like kind of broke into his living quarters in the church grounds, and they found like a on the stovetop some food that had been made, some like meat and potatoes or something like that, and yeah, sounds pretty good. But no, that was it. They just found food.
No.
No, but like it hadn't been eaten. It hadn't been cleaned up. It suggested that he left. He must have got a phone call and then immediately left.
Right.
And the speculation is that he left to have gay sex with somebody.
I mean, if you're ever gonna not eat meat and potatoes, it's probably because you're about to have gay sex.
Yeah, that's a good enough reason.
Quick, I'm out of here.
So yeah, so you got these two murders, and then you got the dead guy, and the only place they could confirm that the dead guy was from. Well, now when I mentioned he had like sun bleached hair, he had a deep tan. That was, like I said, that was uncommon for December in Idaho. So he was probably from like Southern California or New Mexico or Arizona, and they confirmed that he had been to Yuma, Arizona, or at least that's where his belt buckle came from.
Right.
And so that's kind of the thing that is kind of the thing that brings all these together. Is that a lot of people, like most of the people I mentioned, those journalists, like some of those cops, they really believe that this guy may be behind these murders and possibly other ones. But they never identified him. And see, well, and then there's a couple other odd details that could tie that in together. Which is, well, now there's a lot of speculation about this, the Father Carrier. There was like rumors of him, maybe being involved in pedophilia. None of these were actually really substantial or confirmed. Just rumors, but he's a Catholic priest.
Yeah.
Sorry, Catholic priests, but Jesus Christ, I mean, you had every chance in the world to change your image. So
yeah.
I'm not apologizing for that remark.
Not one bit.
No.
Especially after the episode we did like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
About the like over 1,000 priests or whatever. Fuck them all.
Yeah, I had to read about pedophilia all day. So thanks for that, Catholicism.
Dicks.
I didn't have to read about pedophilia all day yesterday, but I did.
Did anyway.
It
was Thursday.
Anyway, it was Thursday. Thirsty Thursday. I thought until yesterday that meant something else.
Now we learned.
Yeah. So anyway, so the fact that this guy has been unidentified, so obviously this was a fairly high-profile thing. A guy commits suicide in the church. And then some credible people believe that he could have been involved. So there's in these murders. So there's been numerous attempts to identify him. So, they ran his fingerprints, and nothing came up. So that indicates that he doesn't have a criminal record. He's never been in the military. They confirmed that he was not in any sort of licensed occupation. Like, he wasn't a plumber or an electrician or in any labor unions.
Right.
And the thing about, and not so much today, because record keeping's a lot better. And I mean, this is only in the 80s.
Right.
Yeah, record keeping wasn't terrible then, but the thing is, for instance, Father Ryan, nobody actually knows. They were able to confirm that he came from Dublin. That's it. The thing about priests is that you don't have to license yourself. You don't have to.
Right.
And then it's tax exempt, so you don't really have to report your income. If you were a Catholic priest, especially that time, you would have a little to no paper trail. And I said, Father Ryan, for instance, they knew he came from Dublin, and that is all they really know about him. He made it to Odessa, Texas. Nobody knows how, and that's just an example of
or why, for that matter.
Yeah, or why. So that's another weird thing to indicate that the John Doe guy, he's more than likely had either involvement or a just odd fixation with the Catholic Church. The fact that he couldn't be identified made sense for Catholic priests at the time, but then there's the whole name he signed his, how he signed that note.
Yeah.
That was a very, nobody would know that.
Right.
That was the company that sold priest robes. Nobody outside of a Catholic church.
Well, again, especially back then when you didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
I could do that right now and search, what company makes robes for certain. So, but back in the 80s, you could just jump on Google.
Or if you signed your name, if you signed your suicide letter FUBU.
Right.
So I'm going to do that. Now I just need that cyanide.
Yeah.
So.
I just can't quite get the last digits of the black market on my computer.
Yeah. So, granted, it is kind of a leap to just assume this guy was involved in 2 murders, but I will be the first to admit we fucking rag on conspiracy theorists. So yeah, I'm guilty of being somewhat hypocritical, but it is a weird coincidence.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, because this guy has even people who go to Catholic Church, they're not going to know who provides their wardrobe.
Right, nor are they going to care.
That's just yeah, exactly. That's just such a weird inside thing that. Yeah, so there's evidence suggesting he could have been a priest because no information about him exists. Right. You couldn't place him anywhere except through his belt buckle.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. It's really weird. And, like I said, that's circumstantial. That's all speculative. But let's not forget that there was something weighing on him so much that he clearly planned on confessing some sort of sin and then dying.
Right.
He wanted, because and that's the only way to be absolved of your sins is to confess to it.
Yep.
And so, he just wanted absolution for his sins, and then he wanted to die. And
Jesus.
that's just such a weird coincidence.
And he fucked it up.
Yeah, he fucked it all up.
He got a little premature with that capsule there. buddy.
But, that's just, if he was a priest, that was just a few boys that weren't molested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that is the religious unsolved mystery. And,
Wow.
yeah, managed to stretch that into almost an hour. Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell mine next time. Actually, mine I can tell pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So yeah, mine wasn't so much unsolved. They did solve it. Hold on one second. Let me find the link. Link at you.
Nice. Link at you, I choose you.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna share it to your Facebook, and I can open it from my page.
I guess to keep with the theme, at some point just say update.
Update.
Yeah, we'll pretend that this was actually from an old episode, and
Yeah.
we're replaying the segment with an update.
I like that.
Yeah.
Update. In 1960, a woman went to a confession, and that was the last thing no one ever heard from her. She was 25 years old. She was a beauty queen in Texas. Why does all this shit happen in Texas, by the way?
Right, I'm noticing a bit of a theme here.
A Catholic.
Yeah.
But it was 1960. Would you go confess? She was never heard from again. This is like during Holy Week with like Easter and everything. And 2 days later, they found one of her high-heeled shoes was found inches from the curb of the church. And the following week, her body was found floating in an irrigation canal. Autopsy revealed that she had been beaten, suffocated, and raped while unconscious. All right, so flash forward a little bit. No one's found the murderer for more than 50 years. Finally, they find just a couple of clues within the church of a cover-up because John F. Kennedy, a Catholic, was running for president that year, and they wanted to do everything they could to not give him a bad name whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, JFK, was the first Irish and Catholic president.
Yeah. So they did everything they could in the church's power to cover that up, and then finally back in like 2014, I want to say 2002. They got a phone. The San Antonio police got a phone call from a former priest in Oklahoma City, explaining that he knew the priest who did it, and when he did it, and everything he said matched up with all the evidence.
Wow! And
yeah.
you said that she disappeared in 1960.
Yeah, 1960.
Wow.
And in 1963, this priest met the murdering priest. But he helped cover it up too, apparently.
Yeah, Catholics are very good at covering up crimes for each other.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the guy's
name. That's why the
here.
mafia was.
Yeah.
So successful.
Yeah.
It's just it's just a part of being Catholic, I guess.
Exactly, you just cover shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I find the actual guy's name? God damn it. This is how I roll. Reverend John Fiat. He was the first actual suspect that he was questioned and everything. But because everything was covered up, his alibi was covered up as well. So they had to let him go. He was 27 years old at the time. And then in 2002, they had that phone call. Then he was sentenced in 2005.
Wow, so he was still alive then, and he got convicted.
Yeah.
Wow, fucking 42 years later, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing just because of fucking Kennedy was running for president. Who knew?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one either. Yeah, and like the crazy thing is like for a homicide case, like a 24-hour period is when you're gonna like get the luckiest. So after like 24 hours, it gets tougher,
Right.
and then 42 years.
Right. I mean, that's a cold case by then.
Yeah, that's ice cold.
Yeah.
That's Siberian tundra case.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. So yeah, we had a I had a pretty good list. I didn't even send you the other website that had like a list of them because I was just I was like, well, that first website with the list, which by the way, once I started reading it, they cited their sources pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't really have to do much legwork. I was complaining. I used to go on that website all the time, and then I would read several different articles that contradicted each other. But anyway, yeah. So if anyone enjoyed the Unsolved Mysteries, we could definitely
We
probably
got
have to
more
do
to
that
cover for you.
again.
That's right. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, that's fun. Like I said, I love researching this type of thing. And actually, the one that I covered, I don't know how, like, especially since it had two unsolved murders and an unidentified corpse. I don't know how that never flew on my radar.
Yeah, true. I wonder how it never made Robert Stack's radar.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was ever on Unsolved Mysteries.
Let's find out.
Actually, I think I don't know if that one was, but I was watching it like a month or two ago, and it was kind of what gave me the idea of doing this episode because there was one about I think two priests that got murdered, and yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch that and
Oh yeah.
cover that for a later episode.
Yeah. That shit's so interesting to me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, well, even in the 80s, even in like 1982, it's just weird to me that a person could die and nobody could figure out who they are.
Right.
It could be such like a high profile case, and to this day, no one knows who he is. Like,
Yep.
probably everybody in the country, if they died, at least one person would be capable of probably identifying who they are. And then, yeah, we got this guy, and then we got two, and possibly more. There possibly could have been more murders. Like the journalists think that he could have been whoever killed. They think that these two priest murders that we discussed were certainly tied together, and it makes sense. Like they died both hogtied, the same way in a hotel. Yeah, like in kind of a sexually charged, violent murder. Like they were probably connected, and they think that they could have been also connected to. I guess they found several like unsolved priest murders in that time in that area, stretching all the way up to like the Pacific Northwest. Weird. And yeah, to this day, like, yeah, that fucking guy. They'll probably never solve who murdered him, but they pretty much solved immediately that James Royez could not possibly have done it, and he served his full sentence.
Yeah, it's so fucked up.
Yeah, that still pisses me off.
God damn.
Yeah, and then I guess he still hasn't got a pardon, which is even more bullshit. Yeah, it wasn't even like it was almost immediately that he was incarcerated that people like tried to help him, like immediately.
That's crazy. 20 years though.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Well, folks, that's where religion brings you.
And Texas.
Yep. Yeah. Stay out of church, but definitely stay out of Texas.
Yeah. And that's going to do it for another episode of the Church of Atheism podcast. Don't forget to check out the new sponsor of ours. Actually, go through our webpage and get a free download of a growing guide. Yeah. churchofatheism.xyz/I love growing marijuana. Download a free ebook. It's a little guide to help you everything you need to know to grow your own weed. yeah, and that's going to do it for us this week. We really appreciate you guys stopping in, giving us a listen. If you guys want to spread the word, spread the love, you can go ahead and share our link. We're on Spotify now. We're on iTunes. We're pretty much everywhere. Pretty close to everywhere you can listen to a podcast. So thank you guys very much. We'll talk to you guys next time.